Aloha YouTube viewers everywhere. Thanks for tuning into this video. This is a WatchBox review of the Android TransOcean-52 water-resistant timepiece. So right now you're seeing the watch on my wrist. My wrist is 60 millimeters wide and it fits me very flat and very comfortably. So let's turn the camera around here and take a closer look in further detail. Okay, so let's just go over the overall specifications and overall details here. So first of all, the lug end to lug end case size overall is 65 millimeters. So that 65 millimeter length is the solid end link to solid end link here. Now the actual strap lugs themselves, the actual strap lug length from end to end is only 56 millimeters. So the watch uses a 24 millimeter wide strap lug width, and so if you were to say replace this OEM bracelet with like a rubber dive strap or a leather strap of some sort, you would be significantly decreasing the overall size of the watch down to, like I said earlier, 56 millimeters for these lug end to lug end links. Okay, so the case width, including the crown, is 57 millimeters across. The bezel diameter is about 51 millimeters across. The crown diameter is an 8 millimeter diameter crown, and the case thickness is 15 millimeters thick. So it's a very wide, flat case, as you see there. Not a whole lot of height to the case overall. The crystal window opening is 38 millimeters across. Okay, so let's turn the watch over and take a close look at the Caseback design. It's a standard screw-in type of Caseback. The watch case has 500 meters or 50 ATM water pressure resistance, and it uses a screw-in type of case design with that's been polished, and it's got name and model number designations going around the perimeter. It uses a hardened mineral crystal exhibition window on the Caseback, and through that you can see the Citizen Miyota AD458 automatic movement. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Miyota AD458, but just a few key points. First of all, it's a unidirectional rotating wind rotor that moves with your arm and keeps the mainspring wound. Once the mainspring is wound, you've got about 30 to 35 hours of power reserve capacity stored in it. Okay, this movement also allows you to manually wind it at the crown. Now, if you manual wind it with the crown, you only need about 25 turns of the crown to achieve a full spring wind. That being said, the movement does have a built-in slipper clutch mechanism so that you cannot overwind the mainspring with the crown. So I usually just keep it at 20 to 25 twists of the crown and I'm good to go. But it is nice to know that you simply can't overwind the crown because of that built-in mechanics and the safety features built in. Okay, so let's see. The AD458 is a non-hacking automatic movement, so you're going to see the rotation, the sweeping motion of the second hand. You cannot pause or stop that second hand motion when you set your time. Okay, so if you want to find out more about the Citizen Miyota AD458, I encourage anybody to just simply Google search it. There's a ton of information out there. This is a very commonly used Japanese automatic movement over the past 20 or 30 years. It's used in watches anywhere in the price ranges from $50 to about $1,000. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to say about the Miyota. Let's turn the watch over and take a look at the front dial. Mine is the matte black dial. It's pretty plain Jane, plain vanilla. The only markings are at the hour locations there, and they are done in super luminova glow-in-the-dark paint. And the hands of the watch are polished stainless steel. They are semi-skeletonized, and the endmost tips of them are filled with also super luminova glow-in-the-dark paint. And there you see the second hand. The second hand is also polished stainless, and it does not have any glow-in-the-dark accent at all. Okay, so the rotating dive bezel is a unidirectional rotating bezel. It's got a semi-coin edge on it, which is very easy to grasp and very easy to turn. It's about a 120 click around the perimeter, and it's very nicely done, very solid overall. The dive bezel and the entire watch overall is just brushed stainless steel. So because of that, there's no color or ionic plating or anything like that on the stainless bezel, so it really doesn't matter where you put that dive bezel, it's going to retain the symmetry of the overall appearance of the design. A lot of my watches, I'm always finding like I have to put the top 00 position like at the top or at the bottom to maintain symmetry, the symmetric appearance, but that's not so much the case. This bezel is completely just basically machined and polished, or machined and brushed stainless steel. Okay, so the crown used is a screw-down crown, and that is my preference to seal and lock out moisture. The crown guard is really nicely done. It's a couple of different pieces. First of all, the main bridge supports for the crown guard are machined out of the same block of stainless steel, and the crown guard itself is formed by this H bridge piece here that drops on and is attached with 2 stainless steel screws. Okay, so the bracelet used is a 24mm straight bracelet. There is no taper to the overall design, just basically end-to-end 24mm. The links themselves are about 4.5mm thick, and like the rest of the watch, it's brushed very nicely. All the links are solid stainless steel. There are no folded links anywhere on this bracelet. The clasp used is a scissor locking type of clasp. They call it that because of the scissor mechanics here. It's like a pair of scissors basically. Snaps into position and it locks with a fold over safety clasp. So what you're looking at here is a well-used watch. I've owned this watch now for about 3 months, and I bought it used off another forum member. And so you're going to see my share of scratches and dents and things like that in the case. I smacked it one time pretty hard against a doorknob and put a big old scratch right across here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this is a well-used watch at the time of this review. So let's see. So talked about the crown, talked about the bezel. So overall, I only paid about $100 for this watch. I bought it used and sized it myself. The entire bracelet is held together. The sizing of the bracelet is done with friction split pins and fine-tuning micro adjustments here done on the clasp. But I only paid $100 used for this watch. It's been discontinued now for about 6 or 8 months or so, and when they first came out, I think they were selling for about $160. So it's a really, really nice watch with a lot of really strong features that I look for in a water sport activewear type of watch. And it just basically hits on all my key points that I look for. So it's got the enhanced water case pressure resistance at 500 meters or 50 ATMs. It's got a nice rotating dive bezel. It's got a really well-made bracelet. My personal preference is to use friction split pins. I have never personally had a friction split pin fail or fall out, whereas I have had screws work themselves free on a couple of my other bracelets. So my kind of preference is to use split pins. You got the option with a standard 24mm wide bracelet here. You've got the option of using any number of NATO or Zulu strap or any number of aftermarket available rubber dive straps or whatever you want if you don't like the OEM included bracelet. It's got a nice screw down crown that's very nicely done. It's perfect in that sense. So let me get out my flashlight, dim the lights, and show you guys the glow-in-the-dark lume. Okay, so got my flashlight out, just hit it a little bit so I can show you the lume. Okay, there you go. Whoa, look at that. That is cool. That's one of the neatest things about this watch that you're seeing right there, really, is the dial clarity. Okay, so I mean the superluminova, the clearly indicated markers around the dial really come across nicely, and the overall simplicity of this design. So okay, so I'm going to wrap things up. And I think you guys will be happy with this one. I really like this watch. It's basically Android's stab, so to speak, at the dive tool market. So they have a lot of nice fashion brands. Android does, really fashion conscious designs. Well, this one here is really more or less like a dive tool, and it's considerably cheaper than a lot of other quote-unquote dive tool watches. I think the only thing it really doesn't have is a wetsuit extension, and that obviously would put it into like another class. So anyhow, thanks guys for tuning into the WatchBox review, and I'll catch you later.